Hello, I am very excited to have you join me as I discuss converting major programs to virtual delivery, the advantages, challenges, and how-tos. I am Ashley Travis with the University of Maryland Extension 4-H program in Washington County, Maryland. Today, we will be covering several topics associated with converting programs to a virtual delivery mode. Throughout this workshop, you will learn the advantages and benefits of converting programs to virtual delivery, explore the challenges associated with this type of programming and solutions to overcome them, learn the steps to convert major programs to this type of delivery model, and explore examples of major programs that have been converted to virtual delivery. I don't think many of us ever dreamed that we would be teleworking for almost an entire year at this point in our careers. However, due to the recent pandemic that we are all living in, this has become our new reality and new normal, at least for now. Prior to COVID-19, I feel confident to say that many extension programs, no matter what programmatic area you work in, typically conducted programs, trainings, and workshops in person. Although there was the occasional online learning opportunity, many of us valued the traditional delivery mode of face-to-face. However, when our normal ceased to exist last March, we were all forced to be creative and explore different programmatic delivery modes in order to not only stay relevant, but to continue providing opportunities for our audiences. Typically, group trainings that require minimal hands-on interaction work well in a virtual environment. Also, generalizing, of course, programs that are short in duration and have smaller audiences also lend themselves well to a virtual delivery. Today, however, we will be discussing those very involved, multi-session, and extremely interactive programs that at first thought might be nearly impossible to deliver via online and virtual platforms. With that said, please bear in mind that programs evolve and not all parts of programs are suited for virtual delivery. As we look back over 2020, it may be hard to think of positive outcomes. However, I am a firm believer that there is good in every situation. And when I really analyzed 2020, there were many advantages and benefits to online and virtual learning for extension programs. Later in this workshop, I will present several large-scale programs that were successfully converted to virtual platforms. Based on my experiences, I have identified several benefits and advantages to online and virtual program delivery. The first benefit or advantage is that a broader audience can be reached. When programs are in person or face-to-face, participants typically need to be close to the meeting space or travel in order to attend. When programs are converted to virtual, the audience reach in terms of geography is endless. The availability of participants is something that we all struggle with when scheduling our programs. Everyone is busy, or some don't have the means to attend a program in person, and this can hinder program attendance. We see this a lot in 4-H, especially with youth who rely on a parent or guardian for transportation, or who simply don't have transportation available to them. When programs are converted to a virtual platform, participants can attend programs from virtually anywhere. Participant availability also increases with virtual delivery. For example, if a family has two obligations on the same evening, participation can still be achieved through online participation. Just as with broadening audience reach, the utilization of guest speakers and presenters becomes endless. Through virtual delivery, guest speakers and presenters can teach and instruct from anywhere. This allows program participants to learn from the very best professionals in their fields. It also allows for flexibility in scheduling, a lesser time commitment for the speaker or presenter as travel has been eliminated, and ultimately lower financial costs overall. Through virtual program delivery, participants can experience greater outcomes and thus greater impacts can be seen from programs. Through this platform of education, programs, especially those with multiple sessions, can increase the number of sessions or meetings, thus providing more hours of exposure and education. When participants don't have to travel to programs, the time commitment becomes less, and it seems as though more sessions can be scheduled virtually as compared to face-to-face interactions. We have all had programs that for one reason or another could not be completed in a given year. It seems as though when this happens, the momentum of the program slows. Converting programs to virtual platforms, especially in a year like 2020, allowed for the continuation of upward momentum and assisted in program sustainability. You might be thinking to yourself, why would I invest so much time and resources into putting my programs into a virtual format when we might be back to in-person programming later this year? I thought the same thing, but as I started creating and utilizing my programs in a virtual format, I realized there will be a place for these programs in the future. Many of my programs that have been created into a virtual platform, I plan to use within a hybrid format in the future. Details related to this will be presented later in the presentation when we start to discuss some examples. As with all benefits and advantages, there are also challenges that must be overcome. I am sure we have all experienced, whether teaching or participating, in the virtual meeting where no one wants to talk or participate. Virtual spaces tend to be less personable, but there are several strategies that can be implemented in order to increase participant involvement. Some programs, especially with youth, do have best practices that discourage the use of cameras for online meetings, unless it is absolutely pertinent for the program. Some educators will, however, utilize cameras for icebreakers, challenges, presentations, and etc. Conducting icebreakers and interactive games such as Kahoot games, Would You Rather games, pixel art, and many more can also assist with making you feel more comfortable talking and participating in the virtual meetings. Other programs such as Jamboard within Google, the poll feature within Zoom, and online programs like Mentee can also be utilized. Another challenge to virtual programming is the lack of being able to perform hands-on experiential activities within lessons. In thinking outside the box, many programs have utilized mailing supplies to participants ahead of the meeting so that participants are still able to engage in hands-on activities led by program facilitators. Program facilitators can also showcase demonstrations for hands-on activities through the virtual learning platform or by creating videos which can then be placed into self-paced module-style platforms or posted to the internet through a website such as YouTube. Demonstrations can also be taught live while participants follow along. Another challenge that comes with any online or virtual program is participants' access to technology and their comfort level with computers and technology. It is important to not assume that all participants know how to utilize virtual platforms such as Zoom. It may be pertinent to send links to videos and/or provide very detailed instructions ahead of the program so participants can become familiar with getting started and logged into the platform. Once in the platform and before beginning your program, it is a good idea to explain and show the features of the platform. Even with programs that have multiple sessions, going over the platform features can remind participants of features. This is also a good time to discuss any security features that will be used during the program. For example, within Maryland 4-H, youth are asked at the beginning of each session to rename themselves within the participants list so that only first names show. We also lock the meeting room several minutes into each meeting. These are all features that I discuss in addition to how to use reactions, the chat box, and how to mute and unmute participants' selves. Although many youth are utilizing virtual platforms in today's world, they may not have experience with the specific platform that you have chosen to use. It is also important to remember that even though we are living in a world full of technology, not everyone has the same access to it. Access to internet connections and technology can prevent some people from participating in virtual programs. Try to utilize popular technology platforms that are not only free, but that can be utilized on multiple devices. Some participants may not have access to a laptop computer, but they do have access to a smartphone. Many of the popular virtual platforms are compatible with laptops, desktops, tablets, and iPads, and also smartphones. For those participants that do not have internet access, there may still be ways in which they can participate via a call-in number. One of the best ways to ensure that participants are prepared for programs is to set the program schedule and alert participants to the technology needs in advance. For some, borrowing technology may be an option if they know what and when they will need it in an advanced time frame. Finally, we want to ensure that the virtual program we are conducting is a safe space for all to learn. Ensuring that virtual programs are safe and secure is one of the most important goals of programming through virtual platforms. When choosing a platform to conduct your program on, look into the security features that are provided. Some universities even support one platform over another due to increased security features. Be mindful that security is important in every program, but especially important when working with young people. Before converting and conducting your program virtually, become familiar with all of the security features that are available to you. For example, the University of Maryland utilizes the Zoom platform. There are many security features that Zoom offers, and before conducting my first virtual program, I became familiar with the features and how to use them. Simple tasks such as ensuring youth rename themselves with only their first name, send messages within the chat box to everyone on the meeting instead of private messaging individuals, having 2 adults present on every virtual program, utilizing the waiting room and only accepting names that I recognize, and locking the meeting room approximately 10 minutes into the meeting are all very important in order to keep participants safe. However, if you are like me, this is a daunting list of tasks in addition to facilitating the program. Not only can you utilize a second person as a moderator for your program, they can also manage these features. I have found making myself a checklist to utilize during the program is very helpful as well. The security features that I have talked about all come from a virtual program's best practices fact sheet created by Maryland 4-H. Many universities and extension program areas have created these types of documents that you can follow. Now that we have covered the benefits and challenges and solutions to virtual programming, let's focus our attention on the steps that it takes to convert a major program to a virtual platform. Again, the programs that we are discussing today are those that attract a very large number of participants or that are very involved, multi-session, high-impact programs. I think the most important step before diving into virtual platforms or creating and reformatting content is to remind yourself of the program's objectives. What are you hoping that the participants in your program will take away from their time spent learning from you? It is important to remind yourself of these objectives and to ensure the program you are conducting virtually is still meeting those objectives. The next step is to break down your program into logical and separate parts. Many large scale or high impact programs are typically very lengthy and or very involved for both the facilitator and the participants. The program examples that we will discuss today fall into both of these categories. One program attracts approximately 600 youth for a 5-hour experience, and the other programs typically have sessions that span over a few weeks to a few months. When conducting programs in a virtual format, participants, especially youth, seem to get bored and stop paying attention after about the 1-hour mark. Dividing your program into shorter segments will help you to avoid participant fatigue throughout your program. However, with this in mind, program participants may need to meet more times in order to cover the same amount of content. When converting your programs to a virtual delivery, there are two main options in my mind that can be selected. The first I'm going to call online and self-paced. This may include sessions that are pre-recorded and placed into some type of platform that participants themselves can access at their own pace. Or, as in the examples I will show you today, teachers can select and pace their students. The examples I have not only include pre-recorded videos, but also interactive worksheets. Remember that although participants can sit for an hour of live instruction, pre-recorded videos, especially for youth, should be less than 10 minutes, ideally less than 5 minutes. Again, you may need to make more videos in order to cover the content you wish participants to know in order to achieve your programmatic objectives. The second virtual delivery option I am calling live program delivery. Live programs are exactly as you would think. The facilitator is coordinating and implementing programs that are delivered live through a virtual platform to participants. Longer running programs may be divided into multiple sessions and can utilize many of the additional technologies to increase participation that we discussed earlier. Thinking thoroughly through these two delivery options will not only enhance your program's virtual delivery, but will allow participants to have the best experience possible, thus not only meeting your programmatic objectives, but also creating impacts that will last within our communities. Once you have reminded yourself of your program's objectives, broken the program down into smaller parts, and chosen a delivery option, formatting your content for virtual delivery becomes a much easier task. Although new pieces will need to be created to convert your program to virtual delivery, you should be able to utilize the same content. For example, if I utilize a worksheet for my program, I will still use that same worksheet for the virtual delivery, but I may create the worksheet within a program like Google Slides and make it interactive with drag and drop. Allowing yourself time to think creatively about each part of your program should allow you to bring most parts of your face-to-face programs to the virtual platform. However, bear in mind that in some instances, parts of programs may need to be removed, replaced, or amended, and that is okay too. Not every programmatic piece is going to be effective through a virtual delivery. I will highlight an example of this as we move forward. I wanted to spend some time now highlighting some programmatic examples from 2020 to showcase how myself and colleagues have converted major programs to a virtual platform. The first program to highlight is the 4-H Youth Entrepreneurship Program. This program was started in 2019 as a face-to-face multi-session program. It is geared towards older youth and teaches youth about animal science-focused entrepreneurship. In 2019, youth utilized sheep pelts from a lamb research project at the local Research and Education Center, and in 2020, utilized wool blankets and wool dryer balls as the products for their entrepreneurial business. Through this program, youth participated in 5 learning sessions where they worked with various extension and private industry professionals to write a business plan. Not only did youth write their very own business plan, they also made the products that they sold. In 2019, youth scraped and salted 65 sheep hides that were then sent to a local tannery. In 2020, youth made wool dryer balls and sold wool blankets. You may be asking yourself, how do you take a program where kids were preparing sheep hides one year and make it an impactful virtual program the next? This was the exact question that I and my colleagues asked ourselves. Although this project is not large scale in terms of the number of youth participating, it is, however, a very involved program that starts in June and typically does not conclude until mid-fall. During the business plan writing lessons, guest speakers were utilized to talk about various topics within agriculture and business. The same model was utilized in 2020, and these lessons were conducted through the Zoom platform. The same lessons were able to be delivered, and youth were still able to complete very impressive business plans. By converting the program to a virtual delivery, we were able to add an additional guest speaker who otherwise, due to distance, would not have been able to speak to our youth. During these online lessons, we utilized several features to increase youth participation. The poll feature was used multiple times each session to gather knowledge gain and for the youth to interact with speakers and facilitators. The youth who returned to the program for a second year also conducted presentations, which seemed to increase participation from all of the youth. At the end of the 5 sessions, just as in 2019, youth completed business plan presentations via Zoom. Due to the COVID-19 restrictions, youth were not able to meet in person for the workday where they would have prepared their woolen products. In order for youth to accomplish this task and have products to sell for their business, products were purchased and then mailed to the youth. Once youth received these supplies, self-paced videos were created to demonstrate how to make wool dryer balls. By critically thinking through these processes, all components of the program were successfully converted to a virtual platform, and evaluation showed similar knowledge gain to the in-person program in 2019. By having this program in a virtual format, many youth who typically would not have been able to complete this program due to geographical barriers were able to participate. Youth participants represented 4 states and 2 counties within Maryland. It is planned that even when in-person programs resume, this program will be offered through a hybrid model as both an in-person face-to-face option and a virtual option. The next program example I am going to cover is our 4-H Small Ruminant Research Academy. This program serves youth that are senior aged members. This program gives youth the opportunity to participate in applied research, typically at the local research and education center focused around sheep. Throughout this program, youth conduct a literature review, assist with data collection, analyze data, and create their very own research posters that are usually entered into the Maryland State Fair. The purpose of this program is to allow youth to experience applied research and explore careers related to agriculture and animal science. The program was conducted in person in 2018 and 2019 and was converted to a virtual format in 2020. Just as with the 4-H Entrepreneurship program, the Research Academy is not a large-scale program in terms of the number of participants, but it is a very involved, high-impact, youth-driven program. As explained, when this program is conducted in person, youth actually visit the Research and Education Center and observe real research being conducted. When this program was converted to a virtual format, this very important element of the program was at risk for being lost. We were fortunate that the extension team conducting the research was willing to video many parts of the research program that we were then able to show to the youth via bi-weekly Zoom meetings. When this program is conducted in person, there are typically 4 times that we meet with the youth throughout the 4 months of the program. Due to flexibility of virtual programs, we were able to connect with the youth almost 3 times as much. We held bi-weekly data discussions, and youth updated the group on their progress in terms of their literature review, hypothesis formulation, and data analysis. This program also utilized several features to make it interactive, including the poll feature within Zoom and participant presentations towards the end of the program. This conversion also allowed for expanded project presentations. Typically, the youth create a research poster that is entered at the Maryland State Fair. However, this year, we allowed participants to make and present a research presentation in lieu of the poster. Again, all the components of this program were successfully converted to a virtual format. In 2020, the program tripled in the number of participants, and those participants represented 2 states and 6 counties within Maryland. It is planned that moving forward, this program will also support a hybrid approach. Switching gears a little, I wanted to highlight a program that I am currently working to convert to a virtual presence. The Kids Growing with Grains program is a very historic program in my county and engages 4th grade students in a field trip to the local research and education center. This program is a multi-programmatic collaboration between not only the County Extension Office and the Research and Education Center, but also between multiple extension programmatic areas. This program utilizes hands-on, experiential curriculum that focuses on increasing youth agricultural literacy. In 2018 and 2019, the program reached over 1,119 students from 51 classes. During this field trip program, youth engage in 5 hands-on stations and participate in the program for approximately 4 hours. The program is ran in the spring and fall for several consecutive days each season. As was discussed earlier, there are 2 virtual delivery options in my mind: online and self-paced, or live. I am currently working to create this program into an online, self-paced program that teachers can utilize within their classrooms, whether in person or virtual. We are utilizing a Bitmoji classroom format. A Bitmoji classroom is an image-based, digital, interactive learning environment. The platform uses clip art and characters and has videos and worksheets embedded within. The picture here on your screen is an example of what a Bitmoji classroom looks like. The Bitmoji classroom for this program will look like a farm. As youth click on different icons that represent the stations they would move through during the in-person program, they will be watching videos, completing interactive worksheets, and even following along with video demonstrations to engage in hands-on learning. As an example, when a student enters the Bitmoji classroom, they will be greeted by a character that looks like me. This would be the same as when they arrive at the Research and Education Center and I greet and welcome them to the facility and to the program. To engage in a station, for example, the corn science station, they would click on a clip art image of a stalk of corn or a cornfield. They would then be taken to another classroom that would look like a cornfield. On this page, they will have several more clip art icons they can click on. One will bring up a video and interactive worksheet showing them the parts of a corn kernel, while another will be a video demonstration on how to make oobleck from cornstarch. Schools utilizing this program will be mailed supplies, so students are still able to complete the hands-on lessons that make this program so valuable. This program will be self-paced and teachers can instruct their students on exactly which lessons to complete within the Bitmoji classroom and when. This is one program, however, where not every part of the program works within a virtual platform. One of the stations at the in-person program has youth make bread in a bag that they then take home to bake with their families. It was decided that this station would not be a part of the virtual platform, but students will still be provided the recipe to take home and will be encouraged to make the bread with their families. In order to meet the objective associated with this station, another activity has been put in its place. And with that, I want to thank you all for being a great audience. I can take any questions now. And while we do questions, if you don't mind completing the teaching effectiveness survey for me, I will place the link in the chat box since I don't think it's going to work on the video. And I can certainly entertain any questions. Thanks.